PS presentation. All right, so let's go over your policy real quick. You both have the layoff and strike waiver of premium. What that means is if you were to be laid off, we will cover your premiums for the first 3 months. You don't have to pay that back. If you were to go on strike, we will cover your premiums for up to a full year. You also do not have to pay that back. You also have the living benefits, the hospital benefits. That's our hospital supplement. That's our living benefit. What this does is it pays out $300 every time you go to the doctor for anything external. Bug bite, bee sting, step on a nail, need a tetanus shot, get a cut that needs stitches. Nothing internal like I have the flu, I feel sick, I don't feel good, but anything that starts externally, you get $300 a day, $300 every time you go. That benefit's unlimited, so if you go 3 times in a year, that's an extra $900 tax-free in your pocket. We have the hospital benefits right here. The way that works is every day that you are in a hospital bed for up to 365 consecutive days, that is an extra $600 per day coming to you. So say you were in the hospital for 10 days, that's $6,000 coming to you. If you're in the hospital for 10 days, a month later something else happens, that benefit resets to a full 365 days from that point. Now, if the injury was worse and you end up in intensive care, what this does is it pays out $1,200 a day for up to 14 days. After that 14 days, it just drops down to that $600 for up to a full year. You're also covered for accidental death. So if you were to fall down the stairs, fall off a roof cleaning the gutters, get caught in a house fire, an explosion, what this does is it'll pay out $60,000 for each of you. Your kids are also covered for $12,000. The most dangerous thing we do every day is driving a car. You're both covered for $120,000 if you were to be, if anything would happen to you in a car. You can be driving, you can be a passenger, you can be asleep in the back seat, you can even be at fault. Your kids are also covered for $24,000 there. Common carriers, that's anything that you pay a fare to ride. So think planes, trains, buses, Ubers, Lyfts, ferries. You're both covered for $300,000 there, and your kids are covered for $60,000 each. Let me ask you a question. Have either of you been on the financial side of arranging a funeral before?
No.
No, me neither, but we should consider ourselves lucky because statistically we're all going to have to do that at some point in our lives. Now, the average cost of a funeral in the United States is $14,000. And what most families don't realize is that health insurance isn't covering the cost of funerals the way that it used to. The way that it used to work is you would take your $50,000 policy, hand it to the funeral director, and that would serve as collateral until the insurance checks start rolling in. It doesn't work that way anymore. Insurance companies used to have to pay on a claim within 24 days. Now they have up to 90 days to pay on that claim. Why do you think they would do that?
Gotta get something out.
Yeah, exactly. Building interest. They make millions and millions of dollars off of that interest. And that's why so many families get burdened with out-of-pocket expenses when it comes to funeral time. Also, there's these 2 companies going out, buying up all the funeral homes and cemeteries that they can in the United States and Canada. One's from Texas, they're called the SCI. The other one's from Canada, and they're called the Aldwood Group. Their goal is to be kind of like the Walmart of the funeral industry. Sorry. Now, the only reason why I bring them up is it's their corporate policy to have 50% of the cost of the funeral up front. Now, I don't know about your financial situation, but most families I sit down with don't have an extra $7,000 lying around just in case a funeral happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that do, they don't want to spend the money on that because there's so many other out-of-pocket costs that come afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we came up with this. It's the Freedom of Choice Funeral Certificate. The way this works, Nicole, is if anything were to happen to Matt, could be tomorrow, could be 50 years from now, cancer, disease, anything in between, doesn't matter. You take this to any funeral home in the United States or Canada, and they'll accept it. In fact, they love it because they know that it's backed by big, powerful unions like yours, so they know they're going to get paid. So let's say you wanted to do a traditional funeral, so flowers, casket, gravesite, wake. Let's say that costs $15,000. So Nicole, all you would do is flip this over, fill in $15,000, fill in all the arrangements, and signs the beneficiary, and everything is completely taken care of as long as you keep Matt's funeral under $42,000, and Matt, you keep Nicole's funeral under $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those are 2 really important numbers, because as soon as you leave, the funeral director is going to call our corporate office at this number right here. He's going to ask us 2 simple questions. The first one is, are you enrolled in the policy?
Mhm.
After I leave, that's not going to be a problem. The second question is, how much money do you have to work with? If I were to tell them that you have $42,000 to work with, how much do you think that funeral is magically going to cost?
A lot.
Yeah, probably pretty close to $42,000.
Yeah.
Shouldn't work that way, so we don't let it work that way. What we do is we never reveal that number, and we ask that you don't either. What we do is we'll simply pay the $15,000, and then we'll cut you and the kids a check for the difference. It's the cleanest, simplest, most compassionate way to handle what's going to happen to us all eventually. It's kind of like a prearranged funeral. You've heard of those, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're a really great concept. Everything's taken care of before the fact. This is the exact same thing, except it's permanent and it's portable.
Mhm.
Most prearrangements can cost from $80 to $100 a month, and you only get what's paid into them. This here is a blank check for $42,000, and you both have one. Do you see how important that is?
Yep.
Well, what's just as important as having your funerals taken care of is what happens after the funeral. What kind of monthly expenses do you have?
Mortgage, credit card.
Yeah, insurance, kids, they're not free, right?
Mhm.
How would you pay those bills if something were to happen to Matt, Nicole?
I don't think I could.
Right, it's really scary for a lot of families. And most families have life insurance. You guys are a great example, but most families don't take into consideration how it works. Now, life insurance works exactly like a $100 bill.
Mhm.
Nicole, if you were to go to the store on a Friday night and crack into a fresh new $100 bill and buy some pizza and a couple sodas, how much of that $100 is going to be left on Monday?
Like nothing.
Right, it's gone. And most of the time we don't even know where it went. Life insurance, liquid cash, it works the exact same way. So when something happens to Matt, Nicole, once you get the 90 days, up to 90 days after the claim, you're going to get that funeral check. And the first thing you're going to do is pay back wherever you got that funeral money.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying you're going to splurge it or be frivolous with it, but statistically, that insurance money is normally gone within the first 2 years. What this does is this will pay out $1,800 a month for 36 consecutive months if anything were to happen to Matt. So that way you can take that $50,000 policy, put it in the bank, let it build like the nest egg it's supposed to be, and after that 3-year adjustment period, that money's still sitting there waiting for you. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Now, Nicole, another part added to this is $1,400 a month, Matt, for you and the kids if anything were to happen to Nicole for 36 consecutive months. That way you can continue to live the lifestyle that you're used to. So that makes sense how that works?
Mhm.
You see how important that is for your family?
Mhm.
All right, so you have all of that and can add on that income protection portion for an extra $40 a month.
Mhm.
All I need is your driver's license and your doctor's information and your banking information.
Okay.